Sprecher, again from?
Incentive targeting.
Right, and we are talking about, we're continuing dialogue about customer service and customer experience, and we were just starting to have that dialogue about a customer who can click on their phone that, yes, I want my usual order in 5 minutes, has now, we have suddenly, because of technology, set the expectation way higher than it's ever been.
Yeah.
And so the chance to fall flat on your face is bigger than it probably ever has been. And the one thing I'm hearing when people do the Best Buy or the Sears, order online and pick up, is that they still have to get in queue with everybody else in line. It seems to be a huge issue.
So I think it's about there are no isolated silver bullets in retail, right? It's all about getting the right collection of solutions together, and collection not just of technology solutions, but collection of people solutions, process solutions, store format solutions. All of these things together are what you need to do as a retailer in order to get the most out of any one of these components. So we were using the example of the person approaching the store,
right,
ordering their latte, right? If you as a retailer provide that capability where they can pay on their phone before they get there, they can order before they get there, and they have to wait in the same damn line, you haven't solved any problems for that person, right? But if you as a retailer say, we have a new way to talk to our shopper in a very targeted,
right,
very personal way, in a very limited and quiet way, in a way that they respect and they want, you also need to turn around and provide the supporting infrastructure within the store to make that a great.
But that can be huge.
But it can be a huge cost, but it can be a huge opportunity.
I'm with
right?
you.
If you think about the value of being able to have that express line sitting next the red carpet line.
Yeah.
So you got the long line over here, you got the red carpet line over here, and the people in the long line notice the people in the red carpet line keep showing up, picking up their coffee, walking out the door.
I think you would.
Every single one of those people would say, "How do I sign up for that, man?"
As a coffee guy from years and years ago, I'm telling you, you would have people livid that happened. Because not all of them are going to be on their smartphone. And what happens to the day Janie forgets her smartphone to order it? Now she's got to be in line. She's like, but you already know me. I'm always in the express line. I guess that's one of the things.
Where you have to, and this is where there is that transition, right? That's a complicated transition.
Yeah, but nobody's adding staff for that. And I think that's to the point of the shop online and pick up. At the big boxes, they're already saying, well, look, we already have people pick stuff up in our stores anyway. Why wouldn't they just be able to use existing employees, which makes sense. When you agree, if you were in your office, that makes a lot of sense. Until you're the guy waiting for 2 hours for your DV.
Right. It makes sense. It makes sense in terms of the spreadsheet of how many staff do I need for the store.
Yeah.
Right. What it doesn't make sense in terms of is how do I make sure that that particular experience that consumer has is one that not only says, oh, I'm gonna not just in New York, across the street, in other places in the country, drive a half mile out of my way to make sure I hit the coffee shop where I can get my coffee instantly as I show up on my way out the door, like no problems. People will change their behavior for really great retailers who do really great targeted customer things for them. And the people in that long line who, the first time they see that happen, get a little bit upset, the person at the front of that register can't be like, oh dude, sorry, it's your problem, right? They need to be saying, oh, this is a great new program we have in place. Here's what you do. Here's the app.
I'm just looking at the ops behind that. Especially a barista who's being paid on being tipped. So now you're going to go through and get the express line, and you talk about coming up with an unequal system in your store, though. It's like the haves and the have-nots. And I think that's really dangerous, because I think retail is kind of a great democratizer. So, it becomes that, and let's face it, the statistics last week out of the New York Times was that 1% of the people are driving 90% of the bandwidth in mobile. So it's much smaller than anyone's saying. I mean, if this was 90% of the people had a phone, they could do it, right? But I don't think that's certainly not where we are right now.
The reason that bandwidth is being consumed by a very narrow group of people is because I think we collectively, the technology industry, the retail industry, everyone have not provided the really great, compelling next generation of experiences on the phone that are so easy to use that everybody can use them. Smartphones are rolling out like crazy. Everybody is getting them. People are forced to buy the data plan. They're spending $120 a month anyway, right? But all they're doing on that thing is they're occasionally checking their email. Actually yesterday
I'm looking at a map.
Yeah, I'm looking at a map. Yesterday there was a great session that Cognizant ran where they were talking about the store of tomorrow and how do we, building the store of tomorrow today. And they pointed out that we are at the point now where mobile web browsing, minutes per day in the United States has passed stationary computer web browsing in minutes per day. So,
but what is that doing though?
What's happening is people are shifting where they think about interacting with information, and they're starting to do it much more on their phone. You're right. There's definitely a steep curve there, and there are a lot of people doing a lot, and some people doing, and most people doing very little.
I think would be balanced, Ben, because and I want to stay with the coffee house because I think between that and then the shop online and pick up in store is a big deal because what I'm hearing is that it really is it's almost like a different business if you're going to be doing the mobile with those cool technology that you really have to set it up that if this is always going to be on, then it's almost like your store has to always be on too, right? That customer could come in and they have to be able to have that same always on experience.
Or have to have the right expectations set from the very beginning, right? If that always on experience is available during rush hour in the morning and rush hour in the evening and lunch, then when you go into the app, not at that time, you need to say, I'm sorry, you can't place your advanced order right now through this app. So it really has to be sensitive to, aware of not just the who and not just the marketing side of it, but the where and the when of each of these interactions.
And I'll go to the next one, which is the operational issues that support
and the operational issues.
Because that's the one I think that we're missing.
You can't have a disconnect.
People are raving about it, like, what a horrible experience. And I'm like, really? You had to wait a half hour? Like, but I ordered online. Right? So
it's misset expectations. They're setting the wrong expectations and not executing on it.
And even if the brand set that expectation, though, do you think a customer would listen to it?
Well, so if the customer, if it's set all the way up to the front.
I'm talking over you right now.
If it's set all the way to the very front of the experience, people, when they are told, listen, like one of the greatest experiences I had with the Registry of Motor Vehicles in Massachusetts. Now, I don't think anybody's ever said those phrases together before. Was when I went and checked when I had to do my most recent driver's license renewal. I went and checked, and I could look at each one of them, the current wait time at each one of those RMVs online, and I was able to change the one I was deciding to go to. Right? That's incredible. So I knew that I was heading for a half-hour wait, but I knew that I wasn't heading for the hour-and-a-half wait. Right? And so, was I happy with that half-hour wait? Damn straight. Right?
The expectation was
because the expectation was there right from the very beginning.
That's interesting too. That might also be interesting if you were doing the app. We're saying with the coffee house idea that maybe it would say, and there are 6 people in line right now.
That would be cool. Cam here, you can see what's going on in the coffee shop right now.
All right, so I think we've solved the world's problems here with this. But anything else? Final thoughts come to mind about setting the customer expectation high or low?
Look, at the end of the day, this is all about respecting the customer, about talking to the customer in a way that values the incredible intimacy of this channel, of talking to them, and that is targeted to who they are, to what they buy, to where they are, to when they are. And when you start thinking about saying less and saying the right things instead of saying more to everybody and the wrong things, those are the retailers that are going to win. The retailers that are going to lose are the ones who treat this like, printing in the newspaper, like broadcasting on TV.
And that's the stuff that could spook them, right? That's the stuff that could spook customers. Like, wait, this isn't any different.
It isn't any different.
You're just broadcasting. You're just vomiting on me with your same stuff.
It does not take very long to totally ruin a relationship, right? But it takes a very long time to build a good one. So.
Excellent. Good place for us to stop. Thanks for joining us here today at National Retail Federation's Big Show 2012.